there is a big movement right now toward creating community and moving away from this idea of individuality. And as someone who teaches solitude and talks very seriously about the importance of internal work and development of the self, I want to touch on a couple of topics here that I think are very important to understand. Both of those concepts work together. In other words, community is extremely important. Solitude is extremely important. Internal work is extremely important. The basis of what I believe is that we need to do the internal work in order for us to effectively take part in a community. So if we are not doing the inner work necessary, and then we go and run to our village with all our problems, we're just basically emotionally dumping, and we're not doing the internal work necessary so that we can show up in a real way, in a helpful way, in an effective way to our village and to our community. So on the one hand, yes, solitude is important. Yes, community is important. But I think it's really essential for us to understand how important the inner work is before we go out and try to dump all our stuff into the community. There's that. And then there's another very real part of this, which is not everyone is the same. Do I believe in the power of community and village healing? Absolutely, 100%. I think we need to give back to each other. That's the whole purpose of doing a solitude practice or doing any internal work. What's the point of me being a fully self-actualized person if I'm not returning those gifts to my community? That's silly. That's like writing and writing and writing and just to shove it in a drawer somewhere. Writing is communication. Okay, I'm thinking about Emily Dickinson, but forget that. Even that got shared, right? So down the line. The point is that there are those of us who are more comfortable in solitude. That quite frankly, being around other people is not energetically safe. And we have to allow for both kinds of people. So speaking for myself, I love my solitude. I do my best work in solitude. But if somebody invites me to a party or someone says, can you give a talk at the library? No one ever says that, but if I had to go do something in public, of course, I'm happy to do it. I don't have social anxiety, but I can dip my foot into my community periodically as works for me. I don't think that individual issues necessarily can always be solved by the community. I think first we need to do our own inner work in order for that to be helpful. Yes, when we are in turmoil and we can't answer questions by ourselves, of course, by all means, turn to your community with humility and understand that you are asking for collective knowledge and collective assistance. Great. But there needs to be room for the people who are solitaries, period, who don't necessarily wish to join a community or wish to spend a lot of time in community. There has to be room for solitary people within a village, within a community, and understand that even that is of benefit to the larger village, to the larger community. I hope that makes sense. I think that's the real key here, is to understand that we have to make room for everybody. There isn't a right or wrong. If you are running away from other people and you're isolating yourself, that might be something to look at for sure. That might be something that you need to sit with yourself so that you can understand that Hiding is not the point of solitude. Reclusivity is not the point of solitude. The point of solitude is to polish the gem of your being, to sit with your fears, to sit with your bliss, right? So the inner work is painful sometimes, and it's also completely joyful sometimes. But how much you choose to take part in your society, in your community, in your village, is an individual choice. I do think some participation, to lots of participation, is essential. It doesn't do for us to be isolated. That doesn't help the collective consciousness, which is really why we're here.